Welcome back to the Chatter's Box. My name is Kyle McClellan, and today I am joined with Cardinals shortstop Masyn Winn. Masyn, thank you for stepping in the Chatter's Box. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. Thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
Good to have you on. You and I got to know each other a little bit on the caravan. Spent 2 days traveling around on the bus, seeing Cardinal fans, and got to know you. And I got to say, I came home from that, and my wife was like, "How was it?" And I said, "Man, I got to tell you, I was super impressed with everybody on the caravan. Just all the young guys. I've been on a lot of them. All the young guys the way they were, but I was really, really impressed with you as a 22-year-old, or maybe 21 at the time.
Yeah, 21.
21 at the time.
Yeah.
But just the way you went about it, just the way you handled it. You were obviously the big name on the caravan. We were down in Memphis where you played, and just the way you handled everything. From me sitting back watching somebody that young, I was really impressed. So I came off, and this is how it goes on these caravans. I come off, I said, I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of the guy. Enjoy watching as the season has played on. Saw you in spring training for just a minute and got to catch up there. But man, it was really cool to get to know you a little bit, and so I'm excited about this for the fans to kind of get to know you a little bit more in depth from what we've seen on the field, which has been fantastic. There, we can dive into that. But just give us a little. Let's just start off with how your year's been so far up to this point. We're getting into May here. We're kind of getting into the grind time of things. But how has this been? This is your first year of starting here since opening day, so there are a lot of new things for you. But what's your take on everything so far this year?
Yeah, it's been good. I mean, obviously we haven't won the amount of games we'd wanted to so far, but I mean it's been a lot of fun. We got a great clubhouse. A lot of good vet guys. Our pitching staff has been amazing, so that's been, just fun to be behind them and play defense. But, I think as a whole, getting my first opening day in St. Louis was amazing. Seeing all the Cardinals fans has been great. Just this squad is fun to play with right now, and I think things will turn around, but it's been a good time this year.
What about opening day stood out? Like if you were going to call home and say, "Man, this is what I remember about opening day," or this was so cool. I met this person, or what was it?
Yeah, just the atmosphere, man. I think last year I got to play for Wayno's 200th win, and that was unbelievable. But I think this year, obviously it probably takes a backseat to that game, but just the atmosphere there, the fans were great. Just felt all the love in there. I had a few of my boys with me, with Vic and Jordan there with me as well. So just getting to experience that with them, and just getting my first taste of it was great. Definitely a little cold. I had a ski mask that day, so getting through that was great. Now that we're in May though, it's warming up a little bit, so it's good baseball weather.
Yeah. So I want to go back to kind of your early on. You came up in a time that really nobody's been through anything like what you went through. So your senior year, I believe you only played one game your senior year because of COVID. What's that like as a kid that obviously baseball is your passion and what you want to do? Take us back to 17, 18-year-old Masyn Winn, who's sitting there wanting to go play baseball professionally or in college or whatever, and then all that's happening. Like what in the world is going through your mind at that point of what you think your future might be?
Yeah, well, really, I think I didn't understand the magnitude of it. I think just going into it, we thought we were just getting 2 weeks off of school, so it was gonna be a great 2 weeks, and then it turned into like a whole year and a half, 2-year thing. But I think for me, everything worked out for a reason. I think Jordan got drafted in the first, and I went in the second as well as Tink. So I think everything happens for a reason. But it was definitely a struggle. I think my high school team played like 13 games. I only got to play in one of them. But it kind of upended really everybody. I think I probably thought I was going to college, and then just got a few calls and got drafted to this organization. But definitely a different road. I think it might have helped me a little bit. They took 2 or 3 teams out of the minor leagues, so that kind of helped my road up here. As well as Jordan. But I think it definitely didn't help, but it didn't hurt either. I think it kind of just kept me on the same plane. Got my feel like it humbled me a little bit. I think getting baseball taken away from me and realizing that there's some other things, gotta have a good support system. You know, the family was good in helping that. Just because I didn't know if I was going to college or if I was going to pro ball, so having them around me was great. But I think just the road to get here, you know, I've definitely had it easier than most, I think, but you know, I don't think COVID affected it too much.
So, like those conversations when you're getting scouted, you know, those conversations with the major league teams, what are they going on? Are they going on what they saw you the year before in as a junior, or were they having you do private workouts, or like what were they assessing you on if you weren't able to play?
Yeah, so they couldn't do private workouts just because of COVID, but I think for the most part, high school guys are really drafted based on their tools, and you know, I'm a pretty toolsy guy. You know, I don't have the height or the weight as most guys, but you know, tool wise, I'm pretty good. I think the college route, I think, is more so, you know, they've had that 2-3 years of experience, so they have more to go on. But yeah, I think the Cardinals were just taking a chance on, you know, a few young high school guys, and I think it's worked out for the most part. I think you know, they chose right. You know, they got their guys that year. But yeah, I think that whole process in high school was a little different, especially during that COVID year. You know, a lot of Zoom meetings, you know, not a lot of in-home meetings. My junior year is whenever I had most of those in-homes, and for those, it was more so they were just looking for like character, you know, and just makeup. Just because I did have a few character issues coming out of high school, and that, you know, they wanted to check on that and, you know, make sure I was still a good person, you know, a good player as well. But yeah, that was definitely a different process going through that through the COVID situation. I think the Zoom meetings was probably the most interesting, just because, you know, you might hop on with one team for 2 hours, and you might hop on right after that with another team for another 2. So it gets a little lengthy and quite frankly a little boring, but you know, it's something you got to do. And funnily enough, I don't think I talked to the Cardinals one time going through that whole process. So, you know, I'm glad somebody was looking out and then picked me up for here.
So you get drafted, and then what's that like after you make that decision to sign and then get in? Because obviously there's no games going on or whatever. So how was that? I mean, you know, I guess what I'm getting at here is you're 21 years old in the big leagues, and you didn't even really have a full development time to develop in the minor leagues. It's just extremely impressive of how fast you're able to get here, even amongst all the other you know, obstacles you had to overcome. But you know, you get in. Usually, guys sign, they get in, they send you right to mini camp. You play there for, you know, 5, 6, 7, 8 days, and then you go to your rookie ball team, and then you're off and playing. You know, but it was a little bit different for you.
Yeah, so they had the alt site in 2020, and you know, thankfully enough, me and Jordan were both invited, and I think that really, you know, I don't know if it makes up for a full season, but I mean, us being there around those vet guys and just the older guys, you know, and I think the team actually got affected by COVID that year, so a lot of the big leaguers had to come back down to rehab. So.
And it was mostly probably your AA, AAA guys, right? Your top prospects.
Yeah, for the most part. But just even that, just being around those guys rather than being in rookie ball around, you know, maybe some knuckleheads. You know, we're all a little crazy when we're younger. But yeah, just being around those guys and getting that experience, kind of just listening and being a sponge. Great coaches down there as well. I think just being around that put us far ahead. I think we could have, you know, if we would have gone to rookie ball, we might not have had that little bit of a leap. I think, like I said, I think we took a leap ahead of most guys that didn't get to go to that alt site. You know, Tink for one, he didn't get to go, and I think me and Walker just kind of had an idea of what pro ball was going to be like going into the next year. So I think that helped us out a lot.
Yeah. So your path to the big leagues, a lot of people, they know about your arm. Everybody knows about your arm. But a lot of people probably don't know you were a two-way guy, you know, and you were pretty excited about that, pretty proud of it. For a little bit. It didn't last too long, and they shut that down. But talk a little bit about that experience of being a two-way guy and what your hopes were with it.
Yeah, so when I got drafted, you know, most teams, it was pretty even split. You know, 10 wanted me as a pitcher, 10 wanted me at short, and then 10 wanted me as two-way. So I came into pro ball fully expecting to be a two-way. You know, I thought I was going to, you know, kind of unrealistically thought I was going to play shortstop and then for 8 innings and come in and close the 9th. So, you know, once I got my head wrapped around that I wasn't going to be doing that, it was a little difficult, but I did get 1 inning the end of my first year We built me up as a closer, and then I ended up throwing 1 inning. Banged up my elbow a little bit, and they shut that down. But yeah, man, I love pitching. I grew up since you start pitching when you're 9. I think I started when I was 8. So I mean, just every week going to pitching lessons. I thought I was a pitcher for the longest time, and even now I still think I could go out there and compete with the best. But yeah, I mean, I love with the organization. They were very good at communicating with me, just kind of the plan and everything. I think the biggest thing for them was, we're going to play shortstop, and if that doesn't work out, we can fall back on the mound. And that's definitely easier to do that than try to fall back on hitting, because hitting is insanely hard. So no, I like the path that they laid out for me. And it's a nice fallback plan to be able to fall back on the mound for sure.
Yeah, not bad if you can jump. Now, how hard were you throwing on the mound?
I want to say I touched 99.
Yeah, don't say you want to say. Like, you don't have to act like you don't know.
I touched 99 in high school, but I was more so of an off-speed guy. I loved my slider, loved my curveball, but
you didn't like 99? It wasn't good enough?
It was good, but it's fun. It's fun, seeing some jelly legs when you throw a breaker out there.
I like that. I can agree with that. But let's talk about hitting since you brought it up. I think that's been the one thing that you said you're a toolsy, right? That's the one thing everybody can see just watching. You got speed, you got the arm, you got the glove, you got all that kind of stuff. I think the one question everybody had was, can he hit? And can he hit this quickly? Because like we talked about, coming up pretty fast through the system, and all of a sudden you jump in at 21. I think Jackson Holliday's gotten a lot of attention, for when he got called up, and unfortunately, I think all the attention he got, I just can't imagine what he was going through every day, and it's tough. The big leagues are different than AA or AAA. And if you have a hole, they will expose it really quickly. And so that was in the caravan, we were talking about that, and that was the one thing. When you look up your numbers, you always hit in the minor leagues. I mean, every year you hit in AAA. Eventually it's going to happen. Talk about that transition up to here. Between that first year and now, where you're showing that you can hit at this level.
Yeah, I mean, last year I came up and I really didn't perform the way I would have wanted to. I really struggled, but I think, like you said, just having that extra pressure, even whenever you try to push it aside, there's always going to be that pressure, and I put more pressure on myself than pretty much anybody else does. And to your point with Jackson Holliday, I mean, when he got up there, it was really all eyes on him, and everybody was expecting him to hit 350. Right. So. It's definitely a difficult task. I think last year I was just pressing too much, trying to do too much with what I had. I think, you look at guys like Willie Contreras, Nolan Arenado, Paul Goldschmidt. Those are the guys they're going to get the bombs. They're gonna be the sluggers. So for me, I think just knowing my role and just being okay with the singles, walking, getting on base, stealing bases. For me, that was probably the biggest thing. The guys up here, the pitchers, they don't give you stuff to hit. I mean, it's really, you got to pick and choose. You really got to earn your fastballs. You really got to earn your strikes, and then just not try to do too much.
So I want to talk about that a little bit. What do you mean by that? You got to earn your strikes and earn your fastballs.
Well, I mean, if you swing at a slider in the dirt, you're probably going to get another slider in the dirt. So for me, I mean, last year that was what I was. My chase rate last year, I want to say, was unbelievably high. So. For me, coming in this year, just kind of pitch recognition, just, if I take a slider in the dirt, they might come back with it again. But if I take it again, they got to come with the fastball at some point. So, or at least just something in the zone. So I think that's the biggest thing, is knowing my strength. Willie Contreras might be able to hit a slider 2 balls off the plate, backside for a homer. But for me, that, probably going to be a swing and miss, maybe a little bloop or something. But I'm going to do my damage whenever I earn, pitches up in the zone, something I can do damage with. I think last year I was trying to do damage on every pitch rather than trying to do damage on my pitch. So that's one thing this year I've worked on a lot. I've been struggling a little bit recently, but, I'm feeling a lot more comfortable. Last year I was all out of whack every day, didn't really know what was going on. Just and don't get me wrong, I love being the defensive guy. I love playing defense, but I want to contribute on both sides of the ball, and that's only going to help the team. That's only going to help my mental every day.
Yeah, I love the hitting. I want to keep talking on that because I think it's fascinating for people that, they see guys come up and they just expect that they're going to come here and they're going to hit. And I don't think they understand the difference between AAA and the major leagues. And a lot of people are asking me about the Jackson Holiday thing. They're like, what do you think's happening? I said, well, you got to understand in AA and AAA, he's hunting mistakes. I mean, he's hunting breaking balls that are hanging. He's hunting in the middle of the plate. And I said, I've watched a handful of his at-bats, and there is nothing in the middle of the plate. I mean, everything. Back in the day, they didn't have the box up like they do for the strike zone, right? So you can see now, everybody can see, where these pitches are at. And, I mean, everything. Now, you watch a Major League game, and everything is on the line or just off the line. And the ones that aren't are the ones that get hit out, or they're under, and so, and the other difference is in AAA you're not seeing 2-0 breaking balls, you're not seeing 3-1 changeups, you're not seeing, so when you're talking about get a fastball in AAA, you can get yourself into a certain count where you're pretty certain you're gonna see a fastball. AA for sure. AAA, you'll get some crafty guys that have some major league time that they might spin a breaking ball on 2-1 or whatever. But here at the major leagues, you fall behind. You can't go up there and say I'm getting a fastball in this count. I mean, you're constantly on the defense of it's going to be one of 4 pitches that could be coming 100%. Here at any point at any part of the plate, and they don't miss with it. And that's what I was seeing with Jackson and his at bats was just. I mean, they were just tough at bats, man. They were just eating him up, and he's got a little high leg kick. And when you're high leg kicking, and they're making mistakes in the middle of the plate and they're hanging breaking balls, you got a chance to get around to it. When you're high leg kicking and they're painting 97 on the black, it's tough, and it makes it harder, and that just starts to compound. But if you can just from your side, I mean, that's my side from a pitching standpoint, but on your side of that, like anything you can add to that of like just helping people paint that picture of why it is so difficult at this level and the separating factor between that AA, AAA and here.
Yeah, I think just like you said, just being a young guy. I mean, in the minor leagues, like you're expecting to get good pitches to hit. You might get 5, 6, 7. If you have 3 ABs, you might get 7 good pitches to hit in one game. If in the major leagues, you might get 2 pitches to hit in one game, maybe. Like if they make 2 mistakes, you're lucky. If you get 1 pitch in at bat to really hit, you're lucky. So that's kind of the game. I mean, these guys, they get paid to make pitches and we get paid to hit them. But the biggest thing I feel like we always say is, he's going to make a mistake and you can't miss it. Yeah. If you miss it, you're down. You're done. You're not getting another one. You gotta battle from that point on. But just the way these guys compete, I think, is just way different. I mean, your best starter in AAA would be the 6th best starter in the major leagues. So just that jump as far as talent-wise and just pitchability, I think the guys, you might face a 23-year-old, prospect in AAA that's really good. He's got good stuff. But, you come up here and you're facing a 13-year MLB vet that's, painting. He might only be throwing 91, but it's got 2 feet of run. He's putting it wherever he wants it. He's got 3, 4 pitches to back it up, and he can throw them in any count. So it's weird. I feel like in the minors you go up there looking for a heater, and I feel like up here you go up here looking for a zone, and you don't miss your zone. Yeah. So, and then if a pitcher makes 3 good pitches, you got to tip your cap. But the biggest thing I feel like is just competing. I think, Jackson was – I didn't get to see too much of his stuff. We saw his first hit and his second hit as well, but – these guys, they know who you are. I mean, you might be your first day in the big leagues, but they got every number imaginable on you. They know what you can hit, what you can't, if you're aggressive, if you're not. So, I mean, these guys are just out there attacking. And it's really just a game of adjustments. I think, that was my biggest thing last year is I really didn't adjust. I was just trying to stick to my plan, and I wasn't, I was getting beat by the same thing over and over. So just being able to adjust to how they're pitching you, and even, it might be mid-game, mid-at-bat. I mean, it's going to be different every day. Some teams might want to spin you away and then hard in. Some teams want to just stay away. So you kind of just have to figure out how they're going to pitch you and stick to your plan and not get out of it.
When you realize, too, as a starting pitcher, they would send me video of the team I was going to face. And what would I watch? I would watch their last 15 to 20 at-bats. So whatever teams have done to them at that point, you're going to continue to do if they haven't made the adjustment to it. So it's like, man, the last 15 at-bats, this guy's gotten pounded in, and he has not made an adjustment, and he just continues to, hit little flares or whatever. We're going to keep pounding him in. Now you see that same team in 3 weeks, and you look at the film, and you're like, man, he's getting to that ball in. So we have to completely change. 100%. So they're making those adjustments all the time. How'd you get yourself to lay off when you talk about your chase rate? What was what have you really focused on to be able to lay off those pitches? And
for me, it's been a big, this year especially, it's been big with my posture. Last year I was leaning over the plate a little bit, and people would be throwing sliders in the zone, but where my head's at, it looks like it's coming at me, so I'm jumping out of the way, and that's strike 3. Or, they're throwing a slider a foot off the plate, but I'm leaning over, so it looks like it's in the zone. So for me, the biggest thing is just keeping my posture, which has been a little tough. I've had a little bit of back issues this year, but, I'm glad we're past that. But, that's the biggest thing is just kind of keeping my posture, staying above the baseball. I feel like a lot of these tall guys, Jordan Walker, Judge, these guys are always working above the ball just because they're so tall. Mm-hmm. So for me, that's the biggest thing I've been trying my hardest to do this year is, I'm a short dude, but I'm trying to get a pitch I can handle and drive. But just going up there competing every day is the biggest thing for me right now.
You told the story on the Caravan about everybody talks about your throw in the Futures game. And I got a chuckle out of every time. I think every stop we went to, they asked about it, and I got a chuckle out of your reason for, you were trying to make it known that, I think De La Cruz did it earlier. And
Neil Cruz, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you were like, well, he was like 96 or whatever. I got 98. I wanted to show that. So tell that story a little bit. So because I think everybody knows of that throw. You're at the Futures game. You took some criticism to it for it as well, and you kind of answered that, which I thought was great.
Yeah, I was in Double-A at the time, and O'Neal Cruz had thrown a ball like 97.6 or something across the infield, and a whole bunch of my teammates were giving me some crap about it. They were talking mess, but I just let them know, like, if I get a chance, I'm gonna throw it as hard as I can. Like I might as well. It's a little Futures game, All-Star game type thing. I did an interview before that game. They asked me if I was gonna do it, and I said, "Yeah, I'm gonna try to go hit 100." It's supposed to be fun. We're out here having a good time. I still remember, it was ground ball. Yuri Perez was on the mound. I can hear Jordan Walker at third base telling me to let it eat. He's like, "Let it eat, let it eat." Picked it up. I let the first baseman know before the game. I was like, "Hey, if I get a grounder, like I'm gonna throw this thing as hard as I can." And I'm glad I hit him in the chest, but. Yeah, I did get some heat. I want to say, Justin Turner was flaming me a little bit on Twitter, but I had a good chuckle about that. But yeah, man, that was a lot of fun. It feels like it was forever ago at this point.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I definitely got a lot of hype behind my name for that.
Yeah, and you were telling fans on the Caravan that haven't had the chance at the big league level to do it yet. Well, we've seen it a couple times now because you said I haven't had a relay, I haven't had like a play at home or a relay or a ball in the hole that I've had to get up and do it. And we've seen a handful of them this year. Probably more notably is the play at home. Not too long ago.
Oh, with Lindor?
Where you infield was in, you get it, and just came up, and as soon as you threw it, I was watching the game, as soon as you threw it, I was like, oh man, there is no telling where this thing might go, and it was an absolute strike. So how have you been able to throw with that velocity, but still keep it to where you know where it's going, and you're able to consistently throw it where you want it?
Yeah, I think I've had a few throwing errors this year, but for the most part, if I can get my feet set and I don't look at my target too well when I throw. I always tend to sling my head open a little bit, but just pitching my whole life, throwing max effort. Whenever I was throwing to the plate, I'd be looking at first base every time I threw. So I feel like I've just gotten a good feel for it. And there, it was a pretty big situation. We needed that run and. Lindor actually got a pretty good jump. I figured I had to let it eat, and it was either going to be on the money or might pull a little left here. But I'm glad Ivan caught it and dropped down on him. So that was great. That was a lot of fun. But yeah, that's my favorite thing to do is get a ball in the hole or get a double play ball that I don't think anybody else can make, and getting the play made and seeing the pitcher's reaction for me is amazing, just because I'm a pitcher at heart. So I know, getting those big plays to get us out of an inning, saving a run is always huge.
Yeah. The one thing I would describe you as watching you play is you play with a chip on your shoulder, and you can see it. Just the way you carry yourself, the intensity. I know you always say, like, you're the biggest cheerleader out there. You're always trying to hype guys up. You're a big hype man. But you definitely play with there was a game early on in the season, and actually a buddy of mine the next day, he's like, man, I love watching Masyn Winn. He's like, he's over there. He's trying. You could tell he was trying to steal. He was trying to figure it out. But he's even before that at the plate, he's kind of after the pitch, he's kind of staring out at the pitch, not staring him down, but just intently, looking out at the pitcher. And you just have a presence about you when you're at first base. You're trying to disrupt what's going on and take advantage of, if you get that opportunity, you're going to steal it and push the envelope a little bit. It's a different style than what we've seen in the last 5 or 10 years with the speed and with the aggressiveness and things like that. Is that how you would describe yourself and what you're when you're out there?
Yeah, I mean, I've always just been so competitive with pretty much everything I do, and I play angry. I feel like if you really pay attention, you can see it. Like I play mad. I like to almost. Me and Willie Contreras, we talk a lot just because he plays angry too. I mean, for me, I think it just drives me. Obviously, I want to have a good time out there, and I'm always having fun. But almost, how MJ used to make up stories about the other team talking about his mom or something. Like I love playing the game mad. And I think when I'm on, even if I get out, it might get a little hot, but I like to take those emotions to defense. Like, oh, this guy just took a hit away from me. I'm gonna do it right back. Like nobody's getting a hit over here to shortstop. So. I think just that competitive edge, I think, most guys on the other team probably don't like it, but I don't really care about the other team. I'm worried about my guys, and, I know they got my back, I got their back. So, it just feels like we're going to war every day. I like to treat every game pretty much like a Game 7. For me, it's, I hate losing more than I love winning. That's something I've always been taught growing up, and for me, it's, that I take that very seriously every single day. I want to win every single game. I want to do whatever I can to help the team win. And I feel like if, whether I'm staring at the pitcher a little bit, I'm never doing it as like, I'm talking mess.
Yeah,
but just
that's what I said. It's not a I'm not staring you down, but it's like I see you out there, and I want to make sure you see me here.
Exactly. It's like I think I'm better than you, and I want to beat you here every single time. Every single time.
Yeah. Well, I love it. I got to tell you, I got 2 kids, and my kids love watching you play. And don't underestimate that. That there's kids out there that are watching, and it's great for them to have a great role model. It's great for them to be fans of somebody that does it the right way, that plays the game hard and does that. And so for me, as a father, and watching my kids, my daughter and my son, that when we have the game on, they want to know what you're doing and how have you done and those types of things, and that's cool. So don't ever underestimate that, and don't forget that when you're out there, that there's a lot of people looking up to you, and you're impacting a lot of people. And so I appreciate it. I appreciate watching. It's been a lot of fun watching you play. We're going to get you out of here so you can get ready for the game tonight. But you guys can catch up on any other podcast that we've had on the Chatters Box over the last 3 years. And if you would, write a review, send it to a friend, and so we can get some more of these out there, get some more views and listens, and get Cardinal Nation plugged into what we're doing here at the Chatters Box. Masyn, thanks again, man, and look forward to watching the rest of the season.
Yeah, it's been great. Thank you for having me.